A millionaire drives a 12-year-old Toyota Camry, lives in a modest 3-bedroom house, wears jeans from Target. Nobody at his office has any idea he's worth $2.3 million. Meanwhile, his coworker leases a BMW, rents a luxury apartment downtown, and wears Gucci everything. Everyone assumes the coworker is crushing it financially. Truth? He's got $4,000 in savings and $38,000 in credit card debt. Same office, same salary range. Opposite financial realities. And here's what nobody tells you. Visible wealth is almost always fake. Real wealth is invisible by design. The actual millionaires around you? You wouldn't recognize them if they were standing right next to you. I'm breaking down 5 specific rules truly wealthy people follow to build fortunes silently while everyone else performs poverty with luxury branding. Stick to the end because Rule 5 requires the most discipline but creates the most dramatic results. Hit subscribe and comment "looking rich" if you've wasted money trying to impress people. Or drop quiet wealth if you're already building invisibly. Now let me show you the first rule that separates people who look rich from people who actually are rich. Rule 1. Look poor, be rich. Here's the first rule that'll make you rethink everything you've been taught about success. Look poor while being rich. It's the complete opposite of what society tells you. Society says, make money, show it off, signal your success, let everyone know you're winning. Wealthy people, they do the exact reverse. And that's precisely why they're actually wealthy. Let me show you what actual millionaires look like according to studies of real wealthy people. 80% drive cars that are over 3 years old. 61% buy used cars, not new ones. Average home value, $320,000, not million-dollar mansions. Most dress modestly with 0 luxury brand logos. You could walk past a millionaire at Walmart and never have a clue they're worth $2 million. They're invisible by choice. And here's why this matters mathematically. Every dollar you spend signaling wealth to strangers is a dollar that never compounds. Guy buys a $50,000 new car to look successful. A different guy buys a $15,000 reliable used car. That's a $35,000 difference. Invest that difference at 8% for 20 years, it becomes $163,000. Same transportation. One person paid $163,000 to look good to people who don't care about him. The invisible millionaire drives a paid-off 2004 Honda Civic that runs perfectly. Lives in a 280 house with a low mortgage. Wears normal clothes without designer logos plastered everywhere. Net worth, $2.1 million that nobody knows about. 0 financial stress. Sleeps like a baby every night. Meanwhile, his neighbor is house poor in a $600,000 McMansion, leasing a Mercedes he can't afford, drowning in credit card debt from maintaining appearances. Here's what's wild about this. The pressure to look successful is so strong that people willingly stay broke just to perform wealth for strangers at the grocery store who literally don't think about them at all. You're not buying the luxury car for you. You already know what you drive. You're buying it for validation from people whose opinions don't pay your bills or fund your retirement. So here's the move. Reverse the entire status game. Drive reliable older cars that are paid off. Live in modest homes well below what you can technically afford. Dress well, but not expensively. Nobody needs to see logos to know you're put together. Stop sending any visible wealth signals whatsoever. Let everyone around you completely underestimate your financial position and quietly build a fortune they'll never see. Calculate your appearance tax right now. What are you spending monthly just to look successful? Car payment to impress coworkers? Rent in a trendy neighborhood you can't afford? Designer clothes and accessories you bought for the brand? Add it all up. That number is your wealth killer. That's the money that should be compounding for 20 years, but instead it's funding a performance for an audience that doesn't care. A millionaire wore the same $40 jeans for 5 years, drove a 10-year-old truck with 200,000 miles. His neighbor pitied him, assumed he was struggling financially. That neighbor? leased a Mercedes, rented a luxury condo, posted it all on Instagram, and constantly stressed about money. 10 years later, the broke neighbor retired at 51 with $1.8 million. The Mercedes neighbor is still working at 67 because he can't afford to stop. One optimized for looking rich to strangers. The other is optimized for being rich in reality. Being rich won. Decisively. Permanently. Looking rich and being rich are opposites. You can't afford both. Choose one. Rich people chose being rich decades ago while nobody was watching. That's exactly why you don't recognize them now. But here's what's behind it that few people understand. Because looking poor while being rich is just step one. What you say about money matters even more than what you drive. Rule 2. Never discuss money, wins, or income. Alright, you're looking poor while building wealth. Perfect. Now comes the rule that's even harder in today's world. Shut up about it completely. Never discuss how much you make. Never announce what you're worth. Never post your wins. Never flex your investments. Total financial silence. This is where most people fail spectacularly. We're living in the era of oversharing everything. Social media has convinced an entire generation that if you don't announce your success, it didn't happen. Just closed another deal. Hit 6 figures this year. Look at my portfolio gains. New car, who dis? Everyone's performing their financial life for strangers who scroll past in 2 seconds and immediately forget. Here's what actual wealthy people do. They don't discuss any of it. Not how much they make, not what they're worth, not what they bought, not their investment returns, nothing. Complete financial silence. And there are very specific reasons why. First, announcing success invites problems you don't want. The extended family suddenly needs loans they'll never repay. Friends start treating you differently, some jealous, some resentful, some suddenly acting entitled to your help. Coworkers get weird. Strangers on the internet have opinions about your choices. Every announcement creates social complexity you didn't have before. Second, discussion creates pressure to maintain an image. Once you've announced you're doing well, you can't be seen struggling, can't admit mistakes, can't ask for help, can't be vulnerable. You've locked yourself into performing success forever. That's exhausting and expensive. Third, silence preserves freedom. Nobody knows your financial position. You can make decisions purely based on what's best for you, not what maintains the image people expect. You can drive that old car, live modestly, invest aggressively, and nobody questions it because they have no idea what you make or what you're worth. Real wealth is so secure it doesn't need external validation. When you actually have money, you stop needing to tell people about it. The flex becomes non-flexing. The status signal becomes no status signal. Confidence is silent. Insecurity is loud. Guy built an $8,000 net worth by 38. Never posted about it on social media. Never discussed his income with friends or coworkers. Never announced investment wins. Drove an old car, lived modestly. People assumed he was barely getting by. His brother constantly posted income screenshots, flexed every purchase, announced every financial win. Had $40,000 saved and massive credit card debt. The guy who stayed silent retired at 42. Brother is still working at 50, stressed constantly about money and keeping up appearances. Silence preserved focus and freedom. Announcement created pressure and performance anxiety. One built wealth, one performed wealth for likes from strangers. Here's your move. Complete financial privacy starting today. Never discuss your income with anyone except your spouse and maybe your CPA. Don't announce purchases on social media. Keep investment wins completely private. Delete any income or wealth posts you've made. Let people wonder. Let them guess wrong. Let them completely underestimate your financial position while you quietly compound in the background. The privacy test is simple. If someone who knows you is asked, "How much is your name worth?" the correct answer should be, "I have absolutely no idea. They never discuss money." That's the goal. Total mystery. Complete silence. Zero performance. Rich people don't announce. They don't discuss. They don't post. They don't flex. Because real wealth doesn't need validation from people whose opinions don't compound. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here, because silence protects your wealth from social pressure, but this next rule is the actual mathematical engine that builds it invisibly. Rule 3. Live on half, invest the rest. Here's the mathematical rule that actually builds wealth while everyone else stays broke at higher salaries. It's brutally simple. Live on half your income, invest the rest. That gap between what you make and what you spend, that's where millionaires are created. And most people never create the gap at all. Let me show you what happens to normal people. Make $60,000, spend $60,000, get promoted to $80,000, spend $80,000, hit $120,000, somehow spending $120,000. Income keeps climbing, lifestyle expands perfectly to match it, and wealth stays completely flat. They're always broke, just broke with nicer stuff and a better zip code. The treadmill never stops because there's no gap. Wealthy people play a completely different game. Make $100,000, live on $50,000. Make $150,000, still live on $50,000. Make $200,000, maybe live on $60,000 now, but definitely not $200,000. The gap between income and lifestyle gets wider and wider. And that gap? That's where the magic happens. That's where wealth compounds silently while nobody's watching. Let me give you math that'll make this crystal clear. Person A makes $100,000 yearly, spends $95,000, saves $5,000. Over 20 years at 8% returns, they've got $244,000. Not bad. Person B makes the same $100,000, spends $50,000, saves $50,000 yearly. 20 years later, $2.4 million. Same income, 10 times the wealth. The only difference is the gap between what they earned and what they needed. Here's what the invisible lifestyle looks like in practice. A wealthy person making $200,000 is like someone earning $50,000. Modest house, older car, normal clothes. No luxury anything. Nobody looking at their lifestyle would guess their income, and that invisibility is the entire point. Lifestyle doesn't signal earnings. Income and appearance are completely disconnected. That $150,000 annual gap goes straight to investments where it compounds for decades. Most people think I'll start saving when I make more money. That day never comes because lifestyle expands automatically to consume whatever you make. You need to reverse it. Set your lifestyle at a comfortable minimum right now, then never increase it. Every raise from this point forward, 100% to investments. You live like you make half of what you actually make. The difference builds generational wealth. Two doctors, both making $250,000 annually. Dr. A upgraded everything with income: an $800,000 house, an $80,000 car, private schools, and luxury vacations every quarter. Spent two 40-year-olds, saved $10,000. Dr. B kept the starter home, drove the old car, used public schools, and took modest vacations. Spent $120,000 yearly, saved $130,000. 20 years later, Dr. A is worth $400,000 and is still working because he can't afford to stop. Dr. B is worth $4.2 million and retired at 52. Same income for 2 decades, completely different gap. The gap determined everything. Freedom versus financial prison. Your next raise is the test. Get a $10,000 raise, lifestyle stays the same. That $10,000 goes directly to automatic investments. You pretend the raise never happened. Repeat this for every raise forever. Over a career, this strategy alone creates millionaires from middle-class incomes. Wealth isn't built by making more. It's built on the need for less. The gap between income and lifestyle is the only number that actually matters. Widen the gap, build wealth. Close the gap, stay broke forever, regardless of salary. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to, because the gap builds wealth, but there's one silent killer that destroys it faster than anything else. Rule 4. Treat debt like poison. Let's talk about the wealth destroyer that's normalized so completely that most people don't even recognize it's killing them. Consumer debt. And wealthy people have a relationship with debt that's radically different from everyone else. They treat it like poison. Zero tolerance. None. Ever. You've been sold this idea that there's good debt and bad debt. Student loans are an investment in yourself. Car payments are necessary. Credit cards are just tools if you're responsible. Mortgage debt is leverage. All these justifications for why debt is actually fine, sometimes even smart. Wealthy people don't buy any of it. Their rule is brutally simple. If you can't pay cash, you can't afford it. Period. Only exception? Maybe a mortgage on a house that appreciates. Everything else? Save first, buy later. Or don't buy. Here's why zero tolerance matters. Every dollar you pay in interest is a wealth transfer from your future self to a bank's present profit. That $500 monthly car payment doesn't sound that bad in isolation. But let's follow that money. 500 months for 5 years is $30,000 paid. No, let's say you bought a $15,000 used car for cash instead and invested that $500 monthly. 20 years later, the invested money is worth $109,000 at 8% returns. Your car payment didn't cost you $30,000, it cost you $109,000 in future wealth. That's the real price. And here's what makes debt even more insidious. It prevents you from investing during the exact years when compound growth matters most. You're in your 20s and 30s, prime wealth building years, and instead of investing $500 to $1,000 monthly, you're servicing debt. Paying banks for past consumption instead of funding future freedom. Compound interest that should be working for you is working against you. The payment trap is a psychological trick by banks. Only $500 a month sounds manageable. Your brain thinks in monthly payments, not total cost or opportunity cost. But $500 monthly is $6,000 yearly, is $30,000 over 5 years, is $100,000 plus in lost compound growth. That manageable payment just destroyed your early retirement. Here's the wealthy person's move. Stop adding any new debt immediately. Today. Right now. Then attack existing debt with the avalanche method. Highest interest rate first, minimum payments on everything else. Scorched earth until you're at zero, then stay at zero forever. The only acceptable debt is a mortgage on an appreciating asset. Car, save and pay cash. Clothes, cash. Electronics, cash. Vacation, save first, go later. Credit cards, pay in full monthly or don't use them at all. The couple had $40,000 in consumer debt, car loans, credit cards, and a personal loan for furniture. Paid $850 monthly just to service it. $400 plus of that was pure interest going to banks. They went nuclear, picked up extra work, sold stuff they didn't need, cut every unnecessary expense, cleared the entire $40,000 in 3 years, then redirected that $850 monthly to investments. 10 years later, that former debt payment had become $156,000 in their investment account. The debt had literally been stealing their future. Elimination unlocked the compound growth that changed their lives. Debt is the enemy of wealth. Rich people understand this in their bones. No car payment, no credit card balance, no personal loans, cash only or don't buy it. Zero tolerance creates millionaires. Debt tolerance creates permanent poverty, wearing nice clothes. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next, because avoiding debt protects your wealth. But this final rule requires more discipline than anything else and creates the most dramatic results. Rule 5. Compound in silence for decades. Final rule, and it's the one that requires the most discipline while creating the most life-changing results. Compound in complete silence for decades, not years, decades. 20 to 30 years minimum without stopping, without panicking, without announcing, without quitting when it feels pointless. This is where almost everyone fails. Here's the brutal truth about building wealth. The first 10 years feel completely pointless. You're investing consistently, doing everything right, and your account balance looks pathetically small. You're watching friends buy houses, new cars, and taking Instagram-worthy vacations. Meanwhile, you're driving that old car, living modestly, investing $1,000 a month, and your portfolio has maybe $80,000 after 5 years. It feels like a joke, like you're sacrificing for nothing. This is exactly where most people quit. They can't handle the boredom, can't handle watching the account barely move while everyone around them is living it up. Can't handle the years of delayed gratification with no visible reward. So they stop, pull the money out, go back to consuming, and they quit right before the exponential curve kicks in. Let me show you what patience actually looks like mathematically. Invest $1,000 monthly at 10% returns. Year 5, you've got $77,000. Feels slow. Year 10, $205,000. Starting to pick up. Year 15, $417,000. Now it's accelerating noticeably. Year 20, $765,000. Holy shit, it's actually working. Year 25, $1.33 million. Life changed. Year 30, $2.26 million. Generational wealth. Same $1,000 monthly the entire time. But look at the pattern. In the last 10 years, you gained more than the first 20 years combined. 80% of your wealth gets built in the final decade. Most people never see that decade because they couldn't survive the boring first decade. And here's why silence matters so much during this process. When you're publicly investing, you're constantly explaining your strategy to skeptics, defending your decisions during market crashes, justifying why you're not buying a new car when you can't afford it, dealing with opinions from people who aren't building wealth themselves. It's exhausting. Silence eliminates all of that. Nobody knows what you're doing, so nobody can pressure you to stop. A woman invested $800 monthly starting at 27. The first 5 years were torture. Growth felt invisible. Friends were buying houses, upgrading cars, and living visibly better lives. She felt stupid for sacrificing. Year 10, portfolio hit $150,000. Momentum became visible. Year 15, $400,000. Compound growth was obvious now. Year 25 at age 52, $1.7 million. She retired while her friends are still working and will work into their 60s, maybe 70s. She endured boredom from 27 to 37. They'll endure mandatory work from 52 to 70. Patience paid. Impatience costs decades of freedom. Here's your move. Set up automatic monthly investing today. Whatever amount you can sustain, $500, $1,000, $1,500. Then set a calendar reminder to check your accounts once per quarter. Not daily, not weekly, quarterly. No reacting to market news. No panic selling during crashes. No celebrating during rallies. Just automated consistency for 20 to 30 years while everyone else is chasing shortcuts that don't work. Write this down and sign it. I will invest amount monthly for 20 years. I will not stop. I will not panic. I will trust time and compound growth. Date it. Keep it. Don't break it. Wealth is built in decades, not days. Rich people started 20 years ago and never stopped. Silence eliminated social pressure. Patience allowed the magic of compounding to work. No shortcuts, no tricks, just time, consistency, and the discipline to do nothing while doing everything. Look, here's everything. 5 rules wealthy people follow in silence. Look poor, be rich, drive old cars, live modest homes, 0 visible wealth signals. Never discuss money, no income talk, no purchase posts, total financial privacy. Live on half, invest the rest. The gap between income and lifestyle builds millionaires, not salary size. Treat debt like poison. 0 consumer debt tolerance, cash only or don't buy. Compound in silence for decades, 20 to 30 years of patience. 80% of wealth builds in the final decade. These rules are the opposite of social media culture. That's exactly why they work. Loud wealth is performance. Quiet wealth is reality. This week, calculate your appearance tax. Cut unnecessary status spending in half. Set up automatic investing if you haven't. Delete one wealth flexing post from social media. Start building invisibly today. Comment looking rich if you've wasted money on appearances. Quiet wealth if you're building invisibly, or Rule 3 if the income-lifestyle gap hit hardest. What next? Comment. 1. Living well on 50% of income. 2. Debt elimination strategies. 3. Ignoring social pressure tactics. 4. Building an invisible wealth timeline. Stop performing wealth for strangers who scroll past in 2 seconds. Start building wealth for yourself in silence. Looking rich keeps you broke. Being rich keeps you free. Choose invisibility. Choose patience. Choose decades over days. Quiet wealth wins, always.